All right, guys, we're just editing this one. So, as always, we'll do the video at the start. Thank you so much once again for watching another episode. So, this is still the same day, even though it's episode two. I just wanted to split up the two trades as it would have been a really, really long video. But we did end up ending the day up about 460 bucks. You'll see in the writing, I stupidly blew the account that we left as a runner. I didn't put that loss limit in, which would have prevented all of that. Tried to take longs in the US session after London already plummeted. Should have been there for London to see that price action and know, okay, the downside is still where we're at. But we got to the weekly BISI during the US session. I tried to take longs and I just wasn't respecting price. But the lessons here that I'm going to try implement going forward is to not move my stops and TPs. And when I have an idea, just to stick to that original idea. If it doesn't play out, it doesn't play out. I like still just watching the chart. I mean, that's always going to dictate what I do with my stops and my TPs and partials and things like that. But all in all, like if I had just left the short where it was, would have been okay. And if I'd left that long where it was, would have been a little bit more. I mean, I'm not trying to be ungrateful once again. But it was good. You know, we blow that fourth account. We'll go for another try with Topstat. I'll probably go 150K account. So that way total would be trading with about 350,000 of capital. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching. If you have any feedback, as always, please let me know. But I will see you hopefully. I'm currently recording this on Sunday. Monday open tomorrow. We've got those accounts on day 4. Those 2 accounts that are about 2 grand. So God willing, we can hopefully get a payout this week. Thanks. Peace. Enjoy the video. All right, we are back a lot sooner than I thought. We had this downward displacing move, so we were right on that initial 5-minute short idea of this candle, which looked like it was just a buyback. But yeah, we didn't take that swing high. Looks like we're melting. So we've got this level here. I've just marked out the fib on the 15-minute time frame. So from this low to this swing high that we're at now. And the 62 retracement falls in line nicely with this gap. So 75 should be the lows here again, which we'd want to see respected. And then just the initial idea. So we've taken a $135 loss. Closing this wasn't a great idea. A bit of overtrading there. We probably didn't wait for the right setup. The short was still a great idea. Would have been paying dividends right now, but you can't get so caught up in it in hindsight. But the idea is there, and that's the main thing. The fact that you had that idea. But I think that's a lesson for me to stop moving my stops and things like that. It was a difference of what, $10, I think. It was at 85, my stops were at 95. I've cut myself short when we could have been up and avoided this. But it is what it is. No complaints on this end. So we have this downward move. This is quite steep, to be fair. And again, we've got wicks on this side and then a steep move below 50% of these previous candles. So that does make me a little bit worried. The only thing that I do have though is this inversion. The fact that we've come, and probably on this first 5-minute, yeah, which we can see here, was actually just filling out this inversion. So if we draw out this box and go to 50%, we hold above that 50% of this fair value gap. So cool, hourly, we've gone up. We're still respecting this hourly, but I think being, again, so low, this is probably just a refill to hopefully push longer. So if we do get filled, I'm going to hold this until, when was the news again? 5. Come back on the charts in about 2 hours, and I'm just going to leave this one. Got everything set where it needs to be, so hopefully we tap up into here, come down a bit, fill out this box. I'm just going to move it a little bit higher to ensure that we get the fill. Stops down here on this swing low, and let the trade play out. So we're back, and we've been tapped in on that entry. Again, anticipating a little bit of a dip down. If we zoom down to the 30, there's probably a fair value gap. Yep. As I'm saying, the lower time frames, it's crazy how much it respects it. I'll mark this with a horizontal line. And we'll see where it got down to. That's it there, and bang. I think that's the last one on the micro time frames. Incredible, the precision that it goes all the way down here. Nice reaction here. So I'm going heavy with the size here. Reason being, I'm not targeting too much. This is showing me coming down, tapping, anticipating a 15-minute closure as well. So I'm going quite heavy on the size. We still might wick these lows. We still have a tiny bit of a gap on that 30-second that we saw before. But again, same principle. We've come down, we've come down. We've had our first green candle, which is above 50% of this. And now we're just anticipating the run. We got this 15-minute as well. Hopefully we can get a bit of a push and close above this gap. That's what we'd want to see. So I did go a bit crazy with the size here. We got 1.5. Lots on just your normal MNQ. So yeah, 15 micros here, which is a bit heavy, but we're at a very good entry point to anticipate this run up. So yep, I'm going to adjust these stops slightly higher. We've got a lot of risk on the table right now. Definitely don't want to be giving these profits away, especially because the momentum is to the downside. Going back to the hourly, ideally we're not wanting to close below 50% of this. Again, we had this first closure, right? First green candle closing bearish, but because we haven't closed below 50% of this, I'm not expecting price to floor, especially after having all this downward momentum. So this could really be a nice spot for us to push all the way back up to here. So I'm going to have my final TP here, which would be a nice payday for sure. And we're just going to take partials along the way. Got liquidity here, which we'll take 2 or 4. We've got liquidity and a little imbalance in here, which we'll take 2 or 4. So where are we at? 2, 4, 6, 10. We got 5 left. Take the final TP here, and then we'll take another 2 off just at this liquidity. So this is what I'm targeting. Hopefully we continue pushing down next week as well. I don't think, especially being a Friday, we're probably not going to come back and take all the highs where we were at before. Ideally, we just pull back, end up around here, and then next week we either take the lows and go higher, or we look to put in, go lower again. So if we go back to that 30-second level that we had outlined, I can delete all these so my chart isn't getting too clogged. I was anticipating a run on these lows here. We got this swing low, a higher low here and a high low here. We want to see this protected. If we take this low, we've got this 70% retracement as well. To have all these levels marked out on the fib, potentially could come here and spike back up. So we will just wait and see what price wants to do here. We've got this 15-minute closure coming up now. Looking like we're going to invert this box. Got 20 seconds. We'll just zoom down to the lower time frames and see where we're at. Okay, so there was another fair value gap below us. Sorry, we haven't taken the original low that we marked out. They're still respecting this low. We haven't broken it, which is ideal for now at least. We want to see if we can take these highs here on a 15-second chart. We have gone a bit heavy here with the size. Not ideal that we don't get the 15-minute closure that we're looking for. We do close slightly under. So we will just wait and see what price wants to do. I will go and use the bodies, as ICT says, for his retracements and see if that is looking any cleaner. So respecting the 79 level here with the bodies. I'm just waiting to see. We wouldn't want to see this low taken, as it looks like we're about to do right here. But that's okay. I'm not moving my stops this time. We've got it in a logical place. We've got this 5-minute, this 15-minute that we were talking about before. Price ideally shouldn't be coming for these lows. We are in a downtrend. We are going against the trend. So just have to wait and see. Now we're at that level. If we go back to the wicks with the 79% retracement, move this as our new low. We'll zoom back out to the 5-minute. See what we get. Got a series of down close candles. It does look like it might be a decent time to reverse on us here. Just check the lower time frames as well. See if there's any gaps that I might have missed before. There's a volume imbalance right there too. Falling in line with the 79% retracement level is what you want to see. We do have this gap on the chart, 3-minute, this volume imbalance. And it's crazy. And NQ really, the way that I've been seeing it, it will find all these little pockets on the smallest time frames before eventually running up for its main move. Let's have a look. See if we can respect this on a 3-minute. Zoom into the lower time frames again. See if we can get a push above these old highs or whether we just continue to drop. Looking for a market structure shift now. And if we do get that, then stops will be adjusted to here. Hopefully we can let this thing run. So I'm going to let the trade do its thing. I'll come back when something eventful happens. Just a few minutes later, we have a really nice reaction here on the 5 and on the 1-minute charts. Bouncing back up, looks like we came just to that level. Tapped that 3-minute volume imbalance, which we saw before. And hopefully this is the start of the push. So ideally want to be taking these highs and continuing higher and higher. I'm just going to move this up to halfway between this gap. That looks fine there. We'll just move this down to a little bit lower. Got 2, and then our last one here. We've got all of this up into the lows, but to get all the way back here, if we go on a higher time frame, looking from a weekly perspective, start of the week, what's that? Monday. Got our Tuesday high, taking Mondays, coming all the way down here. So ideally, yeah, if we can close around here for a Friday, it's TGIF setup, which makes sense. Watching these higher time frames as well. So we do have this wick on the 4-hour. We've come to test. It looks like 50% of this wick. Let me just draw this fib on this 4. So yeah, 50% is this green line just under the box as well. So if we can close above this green line on the 4-hour just before London, that's going to be a nice indication that we're probably going to push higher. Yeah, we've got so much room to go. Got all these gaps in here as well to fill, so that's all good. And I know people say that you should do the opposite if you take a loss size down, but I'm actually on the opposite, especially if you've got a strong bias and a strong reason why. That negates the loss from earlier. Yes, I could add way more onto the loss, but that's just a risk I'm willing to take. I'm a pretty high risk taker when it comes to trading, especially on the scalping side of things. And this is why I love scalping. There's always an opportunity to scalp. Going in the kill zones, you'll find that price will move to your targets a lot faster, but it can also move to your stops a lot faster too. Ideally, if we can flip bullish on this hourly, I do think we've got heaps of room to run to the upside. Nice that we've picked it at really the bottom of this move, and just looking for a bit of a retracement here. I'm against the trend, so I've got to be a bit careful. And ideally, having this on the lowest time frame really helps because you can see where like your exit point would be. If we close below here, more than likely we're going to run lower. I will move my stops, as I said before, if we got above here and had a market structure shift, which we are getting on the 1, but the 5-minute is really where it's important for those market structure shifts. Right now, this could just be a pullback retracement maybe to about here, and then we continue lower. If we get up to here, I will actually take a partial. We should have really partialed once we got to about here on this first initial up move. I think we got it around here. Should have just taken one partial there. You never really know when price could turn around. That's the beauty of it. Nothing's really promised, so you just got to anticipate. Hopefully we can trim that down just a little bit. Won't be by much, but at least we're paying ourselves. If we do come down, we've at least got one less for the loss here too. Yeah, partialing is super important. I think I was listening to Tom Hugard again, and his thing of not setting TPs and just letting price run and not being impacted by previous trades and just let your winners win. And I do think that is a very good methodology to employ, but I've just noticed myself, I've gone for these home runs so many times just to have price reverse on me, and that's when my psychology starts kicking in. Of I need to get it back, I'm making silly trades, things like that. I'm just going to implement the partialing and just being grateful. It's not the full move. Yes, if I'd held on to all the positions, I would have got a lot more, but that's the risk I'm willing to take. At least I'm paying myself. I'll see you guys in a bit again. I'm just going to let this one run for a little bit now. Getting really good price action at the entry levels that we saw. We see obviously as well, wicks down, we have that 5-minute closure, so we shouldn't be closing below this 5-minute candle here. If we are actually pushing up. Again, we could just be coming into here to fill this, the 15-minute as well, if we have a look. Yeah, it falls in line quite nicely. The higher time frame is obviously the one that holds a bit more weight. Looking like we are close to that point already, which is nice. Cool. So I'm just let the trade run. I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so we're at almost the first partial point here. And if we do get there, I'm just going to move my stops up to here. Again, just minimizing this risk because we do have a lot of size on now. So this is really where it comes to trade management, right? So getting in a trade and a winning trade, it's not that hard. It's a 50-50 chance. The price goes up or down. It's the management of your funds which really matters. Pushing up quite nicely as well. So we've got this sticky point here, which I will just mark. And we will anticipate a bit of resistance here. On the 15-second, I can see now from that mistake that we did last time, but I wouldn't want price to come all the way down here. If we're coming down here, being so close to this swing, I do think that's where we run for the lows. So I'm happy to take the risk here. Again, going counter trend to just watching how we react to this 5-minute CB. If we blast above, it's looking pretty positive that we run for these levels that we had pre-planned. All in all, I'm happy with this trade that we're back in again. We got in at a better price. If we didn't take that loss here, we definitely would have been up for the day. There's our 500 target done in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of trading. You've hit your limit, and there's 150 grand a year. Trading is just incredibly lucrative. Once you know what you're doing, it takes some time to understand. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, but if you just stick with the process, it does get easier. As Carl says, less really is more. I'm finding this out myself. Usually I would have been up first thing, checking the charts, staring at it all day, but the way that I'm trading now, it's pretty plug and play. It's almost passive, which is where it definitely should be. It still gives you enough time to actually live your life. Be there for your friends and your family. I think that's a lot more important than the money. So yeah, check in with you guys again. I'll probably just stop out and see if we react on here, because it'll be a better entry than up here. And we'll just see how we react if we get down here. But anticipating with the way that we've had this displacing move as well to the upside, we should hopefully just blast through this. Let's see if we get on this 30. I don't want to see this wick and then come down. We'd rather just close above. 15 seconds to go here. If we come down here, I'll probably take a little bit more of the trade-off. We've displaced below here, so we do have this point in here as well, which is now a 5-minute CB. We've got a tiny little gap in here, which might come down and fill too. This is looking quite nice. This is another tip. If you've marked these levels on the 5, you really should be waiting for the 5-minute to confirm. Even though we've had a tiny close above on the 30-second here, you'd be wanting to see it close actually on the 5-minute chart, as that's where the CB is, right? For now, although it's great that we have pushed, this is an indication again with price being fractal. If we're pushing above, more than likely it's going to be reflected on the higher time frame, but it's not guaranteed. We could definitely just wick, and because we haven't really pushed significantly above this level, we're still just hovering around it. Not that confident. We'll check in about 2 minutes, see where this 5-minute closes. If we can inverse this, then I think we run a lot higher. Just let the trade play out, and we'll check in 2 minutes. 5-minute. We just respect it. But we've got this one in here now, so I'm going to move my stops to break even. Price is showing that we've come down. I did mark this level because we've got these equal lows. We take out the liquidity, and then we've got this fair value gap right in here. And again, we've got this big gap. So again, if we get stopped out here, we can potentially look to get back in, or this could just be the continuation to the downside. And so if we get significant closes on the 5/15, so nice. We do respect that. And this could potentially be a spot to partial. Just really like how that's closed. Respected this after respecting this one. Faking people out to the downside. And especially with all the momentum, lots of people are going to be short because they're looking at the rest of the day and going, oh, we were short up here. This is the problem with shorting markets that are already gone without you. So these are the FOMO traders coming in. That's why it's so important not to give in to that FOMO. Because if you're looking to short here, especially after all of this momentum, after we see a lot of buyers stepping in here, probably not a wise choice. But again, I could be wrong. No one knows with trading. Doesn't matter how good you are, how much money you've made. You're never going to know what tomorrow is going to bring, or the next trade, or the next 15 seconds. You don't know. All you can do is speculate. I'm seeing 3 attempts going down. We had this 15-minute closure. Ideally, price shouldn't come and take this low right here. If we get stopped out here, we look for a better entry, maybe 50% of this. Let me tidy up the charts. This is this wick on the 4 hour as well. 50% is still here. It's a bit of a target for price to come back down and retest. Might get stopped out here. It sucked, but it is what it is. There's on the 30 as well. So check the 15. This is what we want to see for the scalping model. Ideally, my stop should still be here, if I'm honest. Based on what I'm seeing on a higher time frame, we had this bullish closure right at this fair value gap. If we zoom in on a 1 minute, where people are going to have their stops, majority. So majority of people potentially probably going to put their stop loss here. They've had this move, they wouldn't want to see price come down here, but we could just fill 50% of this gap. So we'll just mark this out. It's like my magnets are working. There we go. So for now, we'll keep it at break even just in case we get a big spike and then we do move down. So there's no rushing, no FOMO even within the trade. Like we just talked about how dangerous it is here, but just take your time. 50% of the 1 minute is here. So ideally my stops should still be where we initially had them. That's even too close to the fair value gap on the 1. If I have to wear the $265 loss, I think that's just what I'm going to have to do. But then again, see, this is nice to actually be able to vocalize my thoughts during these processes, because I've just talked about putting in a break even, and if it runs down, look to get back in. And you at least protect yourself from the downward swing. But then again, we've just seen what I've done with the trade going short where I closed out early, right? Essentially moving my stop loss, and price ran to where we expected. So I'm conflicted in terms of playing it safe. And I guess speaking it out loud, for me, what would tilt me more, and this is understanding yourself as a trader. What tilts you? What gets you angry? When do you not trade? When do you trade? Like figuring out who you are and how you are when you trade. For me, what tilts me is having profits and giving it away. Which actually, now that I say that, is an interesting thing to break down. I guess sharing, you could say. Yeah, that's actually really cool to think about. I see this reflect sometimes in my marriage. Sometimes I can actually be quite selfish. I'll reflect on it and I'll be like, oh, I was only really thinking about me in that circumstance. Which is the beautiful thing of marriage too. It's a mirror of self-reflection to develop and get better. As long as it's with the right person. Going again back to that sharing principle, that concept. This money's not mine, and I think that's one thing that I've just got to get into my head a lot more. This 183 that I'm seeing on the screen right now is not mine. It's still the market's for the timing until I hit that close button. And so I think just detaching from the money itself is something that I need to work on. We're coming down again on this wick. So we wouldn't really want to see more than 50% tested here. That would be invalidation on the 5 minute. So we pretty much have already tested it. Got a lot of charts going on right now. Let me just try to see if I can hide this. Nope. Oh, there we go. And so 50% of the wick is this green line here. And so on a lower time frame, I guess, if we, even on the 1, we've pretty much respected it. We've dipped a little bit lower, but just waiting for that. To be honest, we'll just move stops at break even, because we're at this contentious point, and if we just floor through, I think that would annoy me more in this case, because we see the evidence that we are in a downtrend. We were talking about FOMO and whatnot, but yeah. And I guess the point of getting back in, I think that's what I'm wrestling with now. Even if I lose this here, we can just get back in. Even if we take these highs, at least it adds as more confirmation that we're going higher. So yeah, these are all the thoughts that you're just wrestling with. And it should get to a point where, I think I was thinking about this the other day, my mum used to always say that whenever you're doing a multiple choice quiz or anything like that, it's usually the first answer that pops into your head that is oftentimes the right one. I think sometimes, for me, I can only speak on that if I'm in those situations, I tend to see X, Y, Z, P, T, M. And you're like, all of them make sense. I can see reasons, but if you just stick to the initial idea, the initial plan, things tend to work out. With that in mind, I'll stick to the original plan of leaving this at that 15-minute level. And I've just got to trust in the process, trust in the previous results. So yeah, again on the 1, looks like we're respecting this 50% retracement. And again, I'll join you once price decides to do something. Alright, and we're back. I actually ended up adding in a bit more size when I saw this. So we took another liquidity grab, and then we closed again 50%, and we closed quite bullish. So this scalping strat really is quite clutch. I'm going to take a few off here. Yeah,
Order
nice.
filled.
So we'll take 2 off there. Stops at these lows now. Wouldn't want to see price going below this 5-minute now, as we get the nice closer on the 5 to confirm. So hopefully we get a bit of a push now, approaching midnight as well. So again, just keeping that target of 527.92 in mind. So it'd be at about 400. Hey guys, do you want to say hi to the camera? You can come in. This is my wife and our beautiful daughter, Jamie. I should be out pretty soon, hopefully, if this trade continues to run. And that's what it's all about, man. That's why we trade. And I hopefully over the years, as more income comes in, and yeah, I just pray that ego doesn't get in the way of that. And I think, if I can make a comment, that's what we're starting to see with ICT. I think it just got to his head a bit with the amount of people that were praising him, and that's our fault, really. You build someone up as a god, how else are they expected to act? So I hope it doesn't get to that stage. I hope it just becomes a source of income to provide good for those around me. And yeah, just be grateful for what's presented in front, you know. So we're getting some nice pushes here to the upside. Hopefully we can take these equal highs. But as we said before, we still got lots of room potentially for this to run. So now it's just a matter of being patient in the trade. So we're at that 500 mark for the day. Actually, we'll need to go a little bit over to 600 just with this loss. And I guess that's the importance of losses too, without dwelling on it too much and beating myself up or anything like that. But if we didn't take that, or we didn't close out that short, I think it was about $85, we would be at near our target for the day. We got to push a little bit more with that, and that's just the errors and mistakes that if you cut out from your trading will help you to become profitable. So if you can just cut out those losses, those unnecessary losses, yeah, you're chilling. All right. So yeah, still just going to keep our stops at the bottom of this 5-minute low. We've had this liquidity grab. We've respected this low as well. So this potentially could be the stop, but for us to get to here, the distance between the two doesn't really make much sense. Take out that liquidity, pause here and then run up. More than likely we're going to fall through. So it makes sense to secure at least a little bit more profit, $7.50. But again, better than nothing. So here we are, 5 minutes. I'm just going to let the trade do its thing, go back to reading or just hang out with the fam, and I'll check in with you guys in about 5-10 minutes. Alright, so we're approaching hopefully the
Order
second
filled.
partial, which we just hit, which is nice. We're in the green, which is huge, and we are at our daily amount, which is huge. So just going to adjust the stops. Just going to see what sort of reaction we get here on the 5 as well. So we'll lock in at least 200. I think that's what we're going to do. Give this room to run, but at least if it comes down on us, we'll shut the accounts for today, and there's our 200 limit made. It's partial. I just don't want to see a wick and then us close in here. So if we see that, we'll just take the rest of the trade off. Hopefully we do just continue. I think this is what I'm learning as well. I get a bit antsy once prices at these levels. I'm done for today. I could close the trade and that's it. But I think this is where Tom Hugard talks about to be a profitable trader, because your wins have to outlast your losses. That's the main thing. So you got to be winning 3 times and losing 1 at the end of the day. So I know, for instance, I could trade Tuesday and that's a losing day for me. And so even though I've hit the 527 for today, I haven't accounted for the loss of maybe 250, 300 on that day. But this way, especially because we have narrative as well, it's not just me hoping for more like money. It's the fact that price does have these pockets to come. It's a Friday, which typically is a reversal day from the overall trend. We're near all-time highs. There's so many reasons for price to continue going higher. So I'm not going to limit myself in that regard. I think if we're coming above here, we're going to be at our 200 for the day, hopefully. But then again, usually with trending weeks, if we start heavy on a Monday, usually we're finishing heavy on a Friday. I haven't seen it too many times, to be fair, but that's what I do remember from the last time. So at 5, I'm just going to close out the trade here, I think. We did actually get our 5-minute closure. So it's okay. It's part of the process. So this is definitely my C game right now, is getting to these points and just letting the trade run. Let your winners win. But there's the profit and there's me done for the day. So either way, I think I'm just trying to look at it that if price comes all the way down here, that's still our daily target for the day across all 5 accounts. It's above that 527 by 2 days. So 2 days positive. That's just the way that I'm trying to see it. But still giving myself the opportunity. We got VWAP here as well on the 5. Check where it's at on the lower time frames. Near our stop, which isn't ideal, but it's all part of it. So that's Asian session high as well, which we have just taken. So it's the benefit of marking out these levels early. I definitely should have partialed a lot more up here, but it's okay. We'll see what the trade wants to do here. Especially on this 5-minute here. Again, for all those reasons I said before, that's what's keeping me in this trade. It's not me trying to be greedy. It's this narrative to go higher. And we're already still quite low on where we're at. Okay. So yeah, previous hourly closure here. Let's check the 30. Got these gaps up in here. So this 3-minute works nice with the 50% retracement. And usually if we're in a trending market, if this is going to continue, we shouldn't really come lower than 50. Nice, we can get rid of the SIBI, which we disrespected. We're here at this 3-minute now. And it's a buy side as well on the 5-minute. And let's see if our patience will pay off here, or whether we just respect this and push down. Because on the 3, we have not closed above these equal highs. On the 5 we did though. And the 5 actually does respect a lot more than the 3. That is good to see. Let's check the lower micro time frames here. I want to see if we disrespect this. More importantly, respect this. Looks like we semi-are. Alright. It's good to see on the 30. We just want to see this broken here, if we can. Looks like we're struggling to get up. Get a nice little push here, but do we react to the downside again? Let's have a look. And so if we respect that, I'm happy to close out the trade here, because more than likely we're going to be pulling back for a bit. And let's just see. So we wicked Asian session high. Be ideally liking a close above Asian session high. And leading up into 2 as well. So we do respect. This 30-second FEG. Let's see if we can get above here. It looks like we're holding. So the invalidation will be a closure below these lows here. So we can wick, take out the liquidity. We've got a fair value gap here waiting. But if we close below here, then we'll get out of the trade. It's more than likely we're just pulling back. We can look to re-enter, but I think that will do me for today on these accounts. Again, just watching that greed. Approaching the end of this 15-minute. It would be nice to get a decent push closing above these highs on the 15. It would be a really positive sign. Trying numerous times to get up and just getting pushed back every time, which isn't ideal, but hey. Yeah, so again, a closure below here is what would invalidate it on the 30-second. Hopefully in this last minute or so is where we can get this push to the upside. Okay, so we start up here, which is a good indication. A lot of buyers stepped in. So we've got 3 more candles here. Hopefully if we can get a green closure here, strong above 50% of this, might be an indication of this would be the low. Doesn't seem to be. Watch out. Yeah. So that would act as your candle and then stops here. Again, you go on a micro time frame now, so price tends to disrespect a lot of the order flow. But if it is respecting on the smaller, then chances are it's going to respect on the higher. So let's have a look here. See if we can get above those highs. That'd be a good start. Alright, this is the last candle before the 15-minute closure. Just watch, if we close down below here, that will be us for the day. But if we can push up, might come down and test this level again, which it looks like is going to happen. So I will close ourselves out here. So we're 20 bucks shy of where we need to be. I'm just going to see how we react to this level. Okay, and ideally we push past because we have already tested it here. So ideally targeting for like these lows here. Respecting on the lower time frames here as well. Trying to go up, but we just can't. So this probably is not a bad short attempt as well. So I will take this short. Really tight stops here. Really tight. I'm pretty much just targeting the low here. 1-to-1 trade. Do see us getting down to 50 as well. This would take us to our target of 527.92. And so I'm just going for a little small sniper scalp here if we can get it. Price does indicate that we're slowing a little bit here. We can get a bearish closure on this 3. I probably entered a little bit early here. Low resistance, liquidity all through here. So making lower highs as well. It's converging. And we might get stopped out here. And that's okay. So that will do me for today. I know I'm going to revenge trade if I try to get back into the market now. That is a green day. A very green day. Happy with that. Again, I think our original idea of pushing is still going to play out. We're just at this sort of sticky point now where wow, we got a lot on the chart. Get rid of that. And here was the pump. And so this is what I was saying before, and I'm probably going to kick myself a little bit for just not holding on. Especially because we didn't get that closure below here. Setting all these rules and then going against the rules. But again, this could just be a wick up and then retrace down. If we did want to get back in, we'd be looking for an entry around here. And with London coming up, what I'm going to do is the accounts with the most in them, I'm going to lock out. And then the lowest account, I'm going to leave one runner, per se, runner account. And that's what I can trade the rest of the day with. And so if I lose it, I'm only down on one account. We're still up positive 400 on the others. So just depending on how much I lose, I've probably got to set a loss limit of this amount. So I don't want to go under that. We lose one of those and then 4 accounts are still green with that. But that's a pretty nice day. So across these accounts, let me just double check. It's a pretty nice day. So this would be the lead account. This is the one that I don't really want to touch. I think we're at 3 days. So this will hopefully be 4 on this trade. And yeah, again, like that target, I got a bit greedy there. Trying to chase that short. That was a very silly trade. I'm glad that I got to record that and just look at that and go, what am I doing? But yeah, as I was saying before, having obviously the largest amount and close to payday, we'll just leave as is. If we can get that to 3 and request 1.5, I'll be happy with that. It's not bad for a week's work, and it converts to about 2 grand Australian. Very close to the target. Obviously, as more of these are starting to come up, that impacts as well. And then obviously the higher that we have in these balance accounts, we can increase the risk and go for a little bit more as well. It's just scalable. It's just taking your time, the process with it. And I'll just do a quick calc for what we are up today. Okay, nice. So 2,300, about 2,004. I'm just going to multiply this by 4, just assuming that we do lose it on the other account and we're just net. It's still 1.9, which is way above my target. And if I convert that into Australian, nice. So 2.9k day is way more than the 527 that's needed. And so I just need to keep that in mind and perspective. And that's worst case scenario too. If this goes up, or potentially we actually have a win during London, this can go higher as well. So I just need to chill out and just be grateful. Yes, we might continue pushing high, and yes, it could have been a 3k day on all the accounts, but it's still a phenomenal day. This is what I need to learn and implement. And yeah, so day 1, green day, which is definitely what we want to see. And I'll be back. I'll put that probably in episode 2 for London session. We'll be back and see if you can present anything. I'll be definitely watching these 15-minute gaps. Can just clean this up just a little bit. So we got a 15-minute BISI, and then we've also got one. And obviously we'll have it on the lower time frame here as well, so we can just watch for the market structure shift on the lower time frame at these key levels. And that's our cue that we might be reversing. So got another 15-minute BISI. And so it looks alright. We got out here, price did move up here a little bit more. We're still just ranging, we haven't exploded. So this could have been the right move, especially if we start pushing down right here. So happy with that. I'm gonna lock all of these live so that I don't get tempted to trade. And that's a great Friday. So we will save that. 2.7 manual lockout. And this is just why I love Top Step. Alpha Futures has this function too, so I gotta give them credit for that as well. But this is just incredible. I know myself, and I know that if a clear opportunity is presenting, I'm gonna be back in the markets later. And there's been times that I've actually wanted to, but with this manual lockout, it's done. I think Top Step are really good. If you can work on your futures, so your NASDAQ, S&P, DAX, Dow, all your future currencies, but even like your Australian dollar or USD futures, I really would recommend Top Step. They really do want to try help you win. They've got a bunch of data, learning, Top Step TV. It's, yeah, really good community. So it's locked out, I think might be my lowest account. Yeah, this is the lowest of today's profit. Just activated today. I'll lock these ones out. Cool. And we've got this one, so we will see you guys back at London session.